only he could win so many, how by Krishna's mercy, that Arjuna is recollecting that how by Krishna's mercy he could win so many demons. He was getting so many even astras also because of Krishna's mercy. When Lord Shiva gave him Pashupat Astra in this way, he's remembering Krishna's mercy. Now, first canto, 15th chapter, 15th verse. Yo Bhishma Karna Guru Shalya Chamoshvadabra Rajanya Rata Mandala Manditashu Agre Taro Mama Vibhoratha Yuthapanam Ayur Manamsi Chadrusha Sah Ojha Archan Yaha. It is he only, Bhishma, Karna, Guru Dronacharya, Shalya, Chamushu, in the midst of the military phalanx, Abhadra, immense, Rajanyavarya, great royal princess, Rathamandala, chain of chariots, Manditashu, being decorated with, Agrechara, going forward, Mama of mine, Vibho, O great king, Ratha Yuthapanam, all the charioteers, Ayu, duration of life or fruitive activities, Manamsi, mental upsurges, also Drsha by glance, Saha, power, Ojaha, strength, Archat, withdrew. So it was he only who withdrew the duration of life from everyone, and who in the battlefield withdrew the speculative power and strength of enthusiasm from the great military phalanx made by the Kauravas, headed by Bhishma, Karna, Drona, Shalya, etc. Their arrangement was expert and more than adequate. But he, Lord Krishna, while going forward, did all this. So Bhishma, Karna, Drona, they had great military phalanx, everything. But in spite of having all the facilities, still, he says it is Krishna only who reduced the duration of life. Krishna shows them, see, all your people are standing. In the Bhagavad Gita, we have the verse. You just see everyone is standing. At that time, Krishna actually withdraws their life there. But just to give name to Arjuna, that is why Arjuna is kept as Nimitta Matra. Nimitta Matra Bhava Sabhyasachin. Sabhyasachin is the name of Arjuna. One of the name of Arjuna is Sabhyasachin. So, O Sabhyasachin, I have given this credit to you. Let the world glorify that Arjuna killed everyone. Actually, Krishna who removed all their life here. Here, Arjuna himself declared. Okay. So we'll read Krishna Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Yo Bhishma Karna Guru Salya Chamushvadabra Rajanya Varyaradha Mandala Manditasu Agre Charo Mama Vibhoradha Yudhapanam Ayur Manamsi Chadasha Saha Oja Archat. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It was he only who withdrew the duration of life from everyone, and who, in the battlefield, withdrew the speculative power and strength of enthusiasm from the great military phalanx made by the Kauravas, headed by Bhishma, Karna, Drona, Salya, etc. Their arrangements were expert and more than adequate, but he, Lord Sri Krishna, while going forward, did all this. Purport. The absolute personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, expands himself by his plenary Paramatma portion in everyone's heart, and thus he directs everyone in the matter of recollection, forgetfulness, knowledge, the absence of intelligence, and all psychological activities. Bhagavad Gita 15.1.5 as the Supreme Lord. He can increase or decrease the duration of life of living being. Thus, the Lord conducted the battle of Kurukshetra according to his own plan. He wanted that battle to establish Yudhishthira as the emperor of this planet and to facilitate this transcendental business. He killed all who were
Yes.
on the opposite party by his omnipotent will. The other party was equipped with all military strength, supported by big generals like Bhishma, Drona, and Salya, and it would have been physically impossible for Arjuna to win the battle had the Lord not helped him by every kind of tactics. Such tactics are generally followed by every statesman, even in modern warfare, but they are all done materially by powerful espionages, military tactics, and diplomatic maneuvers. But became Arjuna was the Lord's affectionate devotee. The Lord did all this himself without personal anxiety by Arjuna. That is the way of the devotional service to the Lord. Hare Krishna.
So Lord does everything without giving anxiety to Arjuna. The Lord does, it doesn't happen with anxiety. That is what is the difference between a human endeavor and Lord doing all miraculous activities. The Lord does, there is no anxiety. When we do, we take all anxiety. That's the problem. But if we understand that every activity of ours is controlled by Krishna, then we will also not have anxiety. If we leave everything to Krishna, and we know that even our movements are also designed by Krishna, then a human also will not take any anxiety. But we forget that, we think that we are the doers. That is the problem. Everything is planned by Krishna. Yad, yad, yaddoshu, yaddoshu ma pranihitam guru bhishma karna napru napru vigartashalya saindha saindhava बालिकाद्यैः अस्त्राण्यमोघ महिमानि निरूपितानि नोपस्पृशुर् नरहरिदासमिवासुरवाणी यद्धोषु मा प्रणिहितं गुरुभीष्मकर्णा नप्तृत्रिगर्तशल्यसैन्धवबाहिकाद्यैः बालिकाद्यैः अस्त्राणि अमोघमहिमानि निरूपितानि नोपस्पृशुर् नरहरिदासम् इवासुराणि yet undergoes doshu, protection of arms, ma pranihitam, myself being situated, Guru Dronacharya, Bhishma, Karna, Naprutu, Bhurishrava, Vigartaha, King Shusharma, Shalya, Saindhava, King Jayadratha, Bhalika, brother of Maharaj Santanu, Bhalika, Bhishma's father, Bhalika, is the same Bahilika. It is actually Bahilika, the brother of Santanu. Just check, Nikhil, Bahilika is the same because Prahlad Maharaj first, when Prahlad Maharaj next incarnation, Bahilika, just check in that. Because Prahlad Maharaj, he was Shankakarna in the in Brahma's servant, personal servant. He was cursed by Brahmaji because of being late. Then he took 4 births. First is Prahlad, then Bahilika, then Vyasatirtha, and then Raghavendra. So he is the same Bahilika, just check that. Bhishma's father is brother of Shantanu. Adyehi, etc. Astrani, weapons, Amoga, invincible, Mahimani, very powerful, Nirupitani, applied, not, Upasprushah, touched, Naraharidasam, servitor of Narsimhadeva Prahlad, Eva, like Asurani, weapons employed by the devil. So now, many people directed their invincible weapons against me. Balika, Bhurishava, Shusharma, Shalya, Jayadratha, everyone. Bhishma, Drona, Karna. But because of Krishna's mercy, they could not even touch a hair on my head. So the example is given of our Prahlad Maharaj. He was unaffected by the weapons the demons used against him. His own father is a demon. His own father is the enemy of him. But because of Lord's mercy, nothing could destroy Prahlad. In the same way, here it is said that so many people they directed their invincible weapons. That means all wonderful, powerful weapons. But somehow Krishna's mercy. That is why devotee should always say, Avashya Rakshime Krishna. Krishna is there to protect us at every circumstance. But if we forget this, that is why we are in anxiety. Anxiety is because of forgetfulness of Krishna's mercy. If you always remember Krishna's mercy is there, then you will not be in anxiety. Okay, 16th verse. Adi Satviki Mataji, you read just 2 paragraphs, and then Jhumur will read from Napta, that is Purishava. Okay. Read the verse. Read the verse. Vidya Sagar Prabhu, can you read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Yadokshuma pranihitang guru bhishma karma naptri trigarta shalya saintava balika yai astranya mahimani nirupitani nopas prishur nrihari dasam Ivasurani. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Great generals like Bhishma, Drona, Karma, Bhurishrava, Susharma, Shalya, Jayadratha, and Balika all directed their invincible weapons against me. But by his Lord Krishna's grace, they could not even touch a hair on my head. Similarly, Prahlada Maharaja, the supreme devotee of Lord Nrsimhadeva, was unaffected by the weapons the demons used against him. Purport. The history of Prahlada Maharaja, the great devotee of Nrsimhadeva, is narrated in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prahlada Maharaja, a small child of only 5 years, became the object of envy for his great father Hiranyakashipu, only because of his becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. The demon father employed all his weapons to kill the devotee son Prahlada, but by the grace of the Lord, he was saved from all sorts of dangerous activities by his father. He was thrown in a fire in boiling oil from the top of a hill underneath the legs of an elephant, and he was administered poison. At least the father himself took up a chopper to kill his son and thus Nrsimhadev appeared and killed the heinous father in the presence of the son. Thus, no one can kill the devotee of the Lord. Similarly, Arjuna was also saved by the Lord, although all dangerous weapons were employed by his great opponents like Bhishma. Karna, born of Kunti by the sun god prior to her marriage with Maharaja Pandu, Karna took his birth with bangles and earrings, extraordinary signs for an undaunted hero. In the beginning, his name was Vasusena, but when he grew up, he presented his natural bangles and earrings to Indradeva, and thereafter he became known as Vaikartana. After his birth from the maiden Kunti, he was thrown in the Ganges. Later, he was picked up by Adhira,
Adhirata.
and he and his wife Radha brought him up as their own offspring. Karna was very charitable, especially toward the Brahmanas. There was nothing he could not spare for a Brahmana. In some charitable spirit, he gave in charity his natural bangles and earrings to Indradeva, who, being very much satisfied with him, gave him in return a great weapon called Shakti. He was admitted as one of the students of Dronacharya, and from the very beginning there was some rivalry between him and Arjuna. Seeing his constant rivalry with Arjuna, Duryodhana picked him up as his companion, and this gradually grew into greater intimacy. He was also present in the great assembly of Drupada's Swayamvara function, and when he attempted to exhibit his talent in that meeting, Draupadi's brother declared that Krishna could not
Karna,
take
Karna,
part in the
Karna.
competition. Karna
Declare that Karna.
declared that Karna could not take part in the competition because of his being the son of Shudra, carpenter. Although he was refused in the competition, still, when Arjuna was successful in piercing the fish target on the ceiling, and Draupadi bestowed her garland upon Arjuna, Karna, and the other disappointed princess offered an unusual stumbling block to Arjuna while he was living with Draupadi. Specifically, Karna fought with him very uh, valiantly, but all of them were defeated by Arjuna. Duryodhana was very much pleased with Karna because of his constant rivalry with Arjuna, and when he was in power, he enthroned Karna in the state of Anga. Being baffled in his attempt to win Draupadi, Karna advised Duryodhana to attack King Drupada, for after defeating him, both Arjuna and Draupadi would be arrested. But Dronacharya rebuked them for his conspiracy, and they refrained from the action. Karna was defeated many times, not only by Arjuna, but also by Bhimasena. He was the king of the kingdom of Bengal, Orissa, and Madras combined. Later on, he took an active part in the Rajasuya sacrifice of Maharaja Yudhishthira, and when there was gambling between the rival brothers designed by Shakuni, Karna took part in the game, and he was very pleased when Draupadi was offered as a bet in the gambling. This fed him old grudge. When Draupadi was in the game, he was very enthusiastic to declare the news, and it is he who ordered Dushasana to take away the garments of both the Pandavas and Draupadi. He asked Draupadi to select another husband because, being lost by the Pandavas, she was rendered a slave of the Kurus. He was always an enemy of the Pandavas, and whenever there was an opportunity, he tried to them by curb,
Curb them.
curb them by all means. During the battle of Kurukshetra, he foresaw the conclusive result, and he expressed his opinion that due to Lord Krishna's being the chariot driver of Arjuna, the battle should be won by him. He always differed with Bhishma, and sometimes he was proud enough to say that within 5 days he could finish up the Pandavas if Bhishma would not interfere with his plan of action. But he was much mortified when Bhishma died. He killed Ghatotkacha with the Shakti weapon obtained from Indradeva. His son Vrishasena was killed by Arjuna. He killed the largest number of Pandava soldiers. At least there was a severe fight with Arjuna, and it was he only who was able to knock off the helmet of Arjuna. But it so happened that the wheel of his chariot stuck in the battlefield mud, and when he got down to set the wheel right, Arjuna took the opportunity and killed him, although he requested Arjuna not to do so. Napta or
Wait.
Can I read, Mataji?
Jumur is reading, na? After that you read. Let Jumur read. The next look I'll give you.
Napta, Hare Krishna everyone, Dandavat Pranam. Napta or Bhurishrava. Bhurishrava was the son of Somadatta, a member of the Kuru family. His other brother was Shalya. Both the brothers and the father attended the Swayamvar ceremony of Draupadi. All of them appreciated the wonderful strength of the Arjuna due to his being the devotee friend of the Lord. And thus Bhurishrava advised the sons of Dhritarashtra not to pick any quarrel or fight with them. All of them also attended the Rajasuya Yajna of Maharaj Yudhishthir. He possessed one Akshauhini regiment of army, cavalry, elephants, and chariots, and all these were employed in the battle of Kurukshetra on behalf of Duryodhan's party. He was counted by Bhima as one of the Yuttapatis. In the battle of Kurukshetra, he was specially engaged in a fight with Satyaki and he killed 10 sons of Satyaki. Later on, Arjuna cut off his hands and he was ultimately killed by Satyaki. After his death, he merged into the existence of Vishwadev.
We
Trigarta
have all
or
the names, Bhurishrava, Somadatta. So when we teach Bhagavad Gita, at that time we can take these all examples. Bhurishrava, son of Somadatta. His brother is Shalya. So we have all these names in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita.
Trigarta or Susharma, son of Maharaj Vriddhakshetra. He was the king of Trigarta Desha and he was also present in the Swayamvara ceremony of Draupadi. He was one of the allies of Duryodhana and he advised Duryodhana to attack the Matsya Desha, Darbhanga. During the time of cow stealing in Virat Nagar, he was able to arrest Maharaj Virat, but later Maharaj Virat was released by Bhima. In the battle of Kurukshetra, he also fought very valiantly, but at the end he was killed by Arjuna. Jayadratha, another son of Maharaj Vriddhakshetra. He was the king of Sindhu Desha, modern Sindh, Pakistan. His wife's name was Dushala. He was also present in the Swayamvar ceremony of Draupadi and he desired very strongly to have her hand, but he failed in the competition. But since then, he always sought the opportunity to get in touch with Draupadi. When he was going to marry in the Shalya Desha, on the way to Kamyavan, he happened to see Draupadi again and was too much attracted to her. The Pandavas and Draupadi were then in exile after losing their empire in gambling, and Jayadratha thought it wise to send news to Draupadi in an illicit manner through Koti Shashya, one of his associates. Draupadi at once refused vehemently the proposal of Jayadratha, but being so much attracted by the beauty of Draupadi, he tried again and again. Every time he was refused by Draupadi. He tried to take her away forcibly on his chariot, and at first Draupadi gave him a good dashing, and he fell like a cut through tree. But he was not discouraged, and he was able to force Draupadi to sit on the chariot. This incident was seen by Dhaumya Muni, and he strongly protested the action of Jayadratha. He also followed the chariot, and through Bhatrayika, the matter was brought to the notice of Maharaj Yudhishthir. The Pandavas then attacked the soldiers of Jayadratha and killed them all. And at last, Bhima caught hold of Jayadratha and beat him very severely, almost dead. Then all but 5 hairs were cut off from his head, and he was taken to all the kings and introduced as the slave of Maharaj Yudhishthir. He was forced to admit himself to be the slave of Maharaj Yudhishthir before all the princely order, and in the same condition he was brought before Maharaj Yudhishthir. Maharaj Yudhishthir was kind enough to order him released, and when he admitted to being a tributary prince under Maharaj Yudhishthir, Queen Draupadi also desired his release. After this incident, he was allowed to return to his country. Being so insulted, he went to Gangotri in the Himalayas and undertook a severe type of penance to please Lord Shiva. He asked his benediction to defeat all the Pandavas, at least one at a time. Then the battle of Kurukshetra began and he took sides with Duryodhan. In the first day's fight, he was engaged with Maharaj Drupad, then with Virat, and then with Abhimanyu. While Abhimanyu was being killed mercilessly, surrounded by 7 great generals, the Pandavas came to his help, but Jayadratha, by the mercy of Lord Shiva, repulsed them with great ability. At this, Arjuna took a vow to kill him, and on hearing this, Jayadratha wanted to leave the war field and asked permission from the Kauravas for this cowardly action, but he was not allowed to do so. On the contrary, he was obliged to fight with Arjuna, and while the fight was going on, Lord Krishna reminded Arjuna that the benediction of Shiva upon Jayadratha was that Whoever would cause his head to fall on the ground would die at once. He therefore advised Arjuna to throw the head of Jayadratha directly onto the lap of his father, who was engaged in penances at the Samanta Panchaka pilgrimage. This was actually done by Arjuna. Jayadratha's father was surprised to see a severed head on his lap, and he at once threw it to the ground. The father immediately died, his forehead being cracked in 7 pieces. Hare Krishna.
Hmm. Okay. So Vruddhakshetra, his father. So Sharma and Jayadratha, they are brothers. In Mahabharata, you'll find all descriptions. Saute Vrita Kumatinatmada Ishvaro Ne Yatpada Padmam Abhavaya Bhajanti Bhavyah Mam Shantavaham Arayoratino Bhuvishtam Na Praharan Hiranubhava Nirasta Chittaha. Sauti, regarding a chariot driver, Vrutaha engaged Kumatina by bad consciousness. Atmadaha, one who delivers. Ishvaraha, the Supreme Lord. My, yet whose Pada Padmam, lotus feet, Abhavai, in the matter of salvation. Bhajanti, do render service. Bhavyaha, the intelligent class of men. Mam, unto me. Shanta, thirsty. Vaham, my horses. Aryaha, the enemy is Ratinaha, a great general. Bhuvistham, while standing on the ground. No, did not. Praharan, attack. Yat, whose Anubhava, mercy. Nirasta, being absent. Chittaha, mind. So translation goes, it was by his mercy only that my enemies neglected to kill me when I descended from my chariot to get water for my thirsty horses. It was due to my lack of esteem for my Lord that I dared engage him as my chariot driver, for he is worshipped and offered services by the best men to attain salvation. So Lord protected me when I went to take water for my horses, and my impudence was that I engaged him like a charioteer. Still, Lord did this for me, he became my charioteer. So he says that actually Lord is worshipped by the great people, yogis, tapasvis, bhaktas, they all worship and render service to him. But I gave him the post of a driver. So in this way, he is seeing that how Lord is so merciful. And that is why Lord's one of the name is Gudakesha. Guda Aka Isha. Even to see the sweet dealings of Lord with Arjuna, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, 3 of them are also waiting to see how beautiful and how wonderful is the relationship that Lord is allowing Arjuna to keep his feet on his shoulders. Because how will the driver get directed by the one who's sitting behind? In the warfare, there will be so much of noise. So if the driver has to go to the right or left, it is the king who sits behind, keeps his feet on the driver and presses. If right is pressed, right side. Left is pressed, left side. So see the position of Arjuna, that he has got the opportunity to keep his feet on the shoulders of Krishna. So that is why Krishna is mother, Vatsalya, mother. A mother is given all, she does all the menial activities for the child, but still the child knows mother has an important position in the family. Mother washes the clothes of the child, but still mother is mother. So that is why Krishna is Vatsalya, he is mother. He is Bhaktavatsala, he is the mother. Okay. Neeraj Prabhu, read the verse.
Mataji, can I read?
Wait. Now Neeraj Prabhu will read. Next verse you will read.
Hari, Hari. Radhe, Radhe. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Saute vrata kumitanam tumad ishwaro me yat pada padma bhavaya bhajanti bhavya man shrantava hamarayo rathino bhuvishtam na praharan yadanu bhava nirasta chitta. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It was by His mercy only that my enemies neglected to kill me when I descended from my chariot to get water for my thirsty horses. And it was due to my lack of esteem for my Lord that I dared him engage as my chariot driver. For he is worshipped and offered services by the best men to attain salvation. Purport. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the object of worship, both by impersonalists and by the devotees of the Lord. The impersonalists worship his glowing effulgence emanating from his transcendental body of eternal form, bliss, and knowledge. And the devotees worship him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are below even the impersonalists consider him to be one of the great historical personalities. The Lord, however, descends to attract all by his specific transcendental pastime, and thus he plays the part of the most perfect master, friend, son, and lover. His transcendental relation with Arjuna was in friendship, and the Lord therefore played the part perfectly, as he did with his parents, lovers, and wives. While playing in such a perfect transcendental relation, the devotee forgets by the internal potency of the Lord that his friend or son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although sometimes the devotee is bewildered by the acts of the Lord. After the departure of the Lord, Arjun was conscious of his great friend, but there was no mistake on the part of Arjuna, nor any ill estimation of the Lord. Intelligent men are attracted by the transcendental acting of the Lord with a pure, unalloyed devotee like Arjuna. In the war field, scarcity of water is a well-known fact. Water is very rare there, and both the animals and men working strenuously on the war field constantly require water to quench their thirst. Especially wounded soldiers and generals feel very thirsty at the time of death. And it sometimes so happens that simply for want of water, one has to die unavoidably. But such scarcity of water was solved in the Battle of Kurukshetra by means of boring the ground. By God's grace, water can be easily obtained from any place if there is facility for boring the ground. The modern system works on the same principle of boring the ground, but modern engineers are still unable to dig immediately wherever necessary. It appears, however, from the history as far back as the days of the Pandavas, that big generals like Arjuna could at once supply water even to the horses. And what to speak of men? By drawing water from underneath the hard ground, simply by penetrating the stratum with a sharp arrow, a method still unknown to the modern scientists. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
That is how Arjuna gave water to even Bhishma Pitama.
Yeah,
Yes.
arrow.
And water came.
Balaganga.
Here also we have no Banganga in Mumbai.
In Mumbai we have, yeah.
Narmanyudararchirasmitashobitani he partha he Arjuna sakhe kurunandaneti sanjalpitani naradeva hodi sprushani स्मर्तुर्लुठन्ति हृदयं मम माधवस्य. Narmani in conversation in jokes, Udar talked very frankly, Ruchira pleasing, Smita Shobitani decorating with a smiling face, P note of address, Partho Sanapita, P note of address, Arjuna Arjuna, Sakhe Kurundanaha, friend, son of Kuru dynasty, Iti, and so on. Sanjalpitani, such conversation. Naradeva, O king, revealing her Sprushani, touching. Smartur, by remembering them, Luthanti overwhelms Vidayam, heart and soul. Mama Mai, Madhavasya, O Madhava, Krishna. So the same verse is there, but I used to call you, O Sakha, O Madhaveti, O Partha. So, the Pratha, O son of Pratha. So, O king, his jokes and frank talks were pleasing and beautifully decorated with smiles. He addresses unto me as son of Pratha, O friend, the son of Kuru dynasty, and all such heartiness are now remembered by me, and thus I am overwhelmed. Arjuna says the same thing to Krishna after seeing the Virat Rupa, that I used to call you O Sakha, O Madhava, but I could not understand that you are the Supreme Personality of God, and I used to play with you, I used to sleep with you, eat with you. And now here Arjuna says that he used to address me, O Pratha, O Sakha. And now when I'm remembering all this, I am just overwhelmed. Kartiki Mataji read.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam. Narmanyudaro ruchi chirasmita sabhitani. He Partha, he Arjuna Sakhe Kuru Nandaneti. Sanjalpitani Naradeva Hridi Sprishani. Smartur Lutanti Hridayam Mama Madhavasya. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O king, his jokings and frank talks were pleasing and beautifully decorated with smiles. His addresses unto me as O son of Pritha, O friend, O son of Kuru dynasty, and all such heartiness are now remembered by me, and thus I am overwhelmed. Thank you, Mataji.
Shayyasana Vikathana Bhojana Dishu Adishu Aikya Vayasya Rutavaniti Vipralabdha Shakyo Sakheva Pitruvat Pranayasya Sarvam Sehe Mahan Mahitaya Kumate Radhamye. Shayya, sleeping on one bed. Asana, sitting on one seat. Atana, walking together. Vikathana, self-adoration. Bhojana, dining together. Adishu, in all such dealings. Aikyat, because of oneness. Abhayasya, O my friend. Rutavan, truthful, if he does. Vipralaptaha, misbehaved. Sakyuhu, unto a friend. Sakha, eva, just like a friend. Pitruvat, just like a father. Tanayasya, of a child. Sarvam, all. Sehe, tolerated. Mahan, great. Mahitaya, a glories. Kumutehe, or one who is of low mentality. Agam, offense, in the mind. So generally both of us used to live together, sleep, eat, toilet together, at the same time advertising oneself for acts of chivalry. Sometimes if he were any irregularity, I used to reproach him by saying, my friend, you are very truthful. Even in those hours when his values are minimized, he being the Lord used to tolerate all those utterings of mine. excusing me exactly as a true friend excuses his true friend, or a father excuses his son. Sometimes sarcastic remarks also I used to oh, you're very truthful. Indirectly saying you are cheater. So in this way, I used to reproach him. I used to sleep with him, dine with him, sit with him. And even if I utter like these words, still he used to tolerate, though being in an exalted position. It's known as atmiyata. Atmiyata means friendly behavior. Sometimes Guru behaves very friendly with the disciple. So that is not the atmiyata. Because if you are always if you are always showing the opulence, then nobody would like to come near. Somebody will be afraid. So that is why this was atmiyata. Even Lord had this atmiyata with Arjuna. So Arjuna said that even though I used to behave like this, he never got any. He did not get any anger. Okay, Vasundhani Prabhu, please read. Vasundhani Prabhu, are you reading? Kusum, you read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Canto. सय्यासनातन विकर्तन भोजनादिष्व ऐक्याद्वयस्य रत्वान् इति विप्रलब्धः शाक्योषुचेव पितृवत्तनयस्य सर्वं सेहे महान् महितया कुमते रगामि. Translation purpose of Srila Prabhupada today. Generally, both of us used to live together and sleep, sit, and loiter together. And at the time of advertising oneself for acts of chivalry, sometimes if there were any irregularity, I used to reproach him by saying, "My friend, you are very truthful." Even in those hours when his value was minimized, he, being the supreme soul, used to tolerate all those utterings of mine, excusing me exactly as a true friend excuses his true friend, or a father excuses his son. Perfect. Since the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is all perfect, his transcendental pastimes with his pure devotees never lack anything in any respect, either as a friend, son, or lover. The Lord relishes the reproaches of friends, parents, or fiancés more than the Vedic hymns offered to him by great learned scholars and religionists in an official fashion. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Okay, next verse, last. सोऽहं नृपेन्द्ररहितः पुरुषोत्तमेन सख्या प्रियेण सुहृदार्दयेन शून्यः अन्वन्युरुक्रमपरिग्रहमङ्गरक्षन् गोपैरसद्भिरबलेव विनिर्जितोऽस्मि. Saha that Aha myself, Rupendraha, O Emperor, Rahitaha, buffet of Purusha Uttamena by the Supreme Lord, Sakyaha by my friend, Priyena by my dearmost, Sruhda by the well-wisher, Hridayena by the heart and soul, Shunyaha, Vachan, vacant, Advani, recently, Urukrama Parigraha, the wives of all powerful, Anga bodies, Rakshan, while protecting Gopyahi by the cowherds, Asadbihi by the infidels, Abala Iva by like a weak woman, Vinirjitaha Asmi, I have been defeated. So O Emperor, now I am separated by my friend from my friend and dearmost well-wisher, Surya, the Supreme Personality of God. And therefore my heart appears to be void of everything. In his absence, I have been defeated by a number of infidel God men while I was guarding the bodies of all wives of Krishna. Again, please read Narayana.
Yes, Maharaj. सोऽहं नृपेन्द्ररहितः पुरुषोत्तमेन सख्या प्रियेण सुहृदा हृदयेन शून्यः अध्वन्युरुक्रमपरिग्रहमङ्गरक्षन् गोपैरसब्धिरबलवे विनिर्जितोऽस्मि गोपैरसब्धिरबलेव विनिर्जितोऽस्मि. Translation and
Gopair,
purport.
wait. Gopair asadhir abaleva
No, but there is no need
viniyarjitasmi.
to. Mataji, if you're
You
breaking
don't have
Sandhi,
to.
then the meter won't be fulfilled.
Gopair asadhir abaleva viniyarjitosmi. You don't have to break.
Suppairasabdhirabalev vinirjitosmi.
Viniyarjitosmi. Read.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O Emperor, now I am separated from my friend and dearmost well-wisher, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore my heart appears to be void of everything. In his absence, I have been defeated by a number of infidel cowherd men while I am guarding the bodies of all the wives of Krishna. Purport. The important point in this verse is how it was possible that Arjuna could be defeated by a gang of ignoble cowherd men, and how such mundane cowherd men could touch the bodies of the wives of Lord Krishna, who were under the protection of Arjuna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has justified the contradiction by research in the Vishnu Puran and Brahma Puran. In these Puranas, it is said that once the fair denizens of heaven pleased Ashtavakra Muni by their service and were blessed by the Muni to have the Supreme Lord as their husband. Ashtavakra Muni was cursed in 8 joints of his body, and thus he used to move in a peculiar curved manner. The daughters of the demigods could not check their laughter upon seeing the movements of the Muni, and the Muni, being angry on them, cursed them that they would be kidnapped by rogues even if they would get the Lord as their husband. Later on, the girls again satisfied the Muni by their prayers, and the Muni blessed them that they would regain their husband even after being robbed by the rogues. So, in order to keep the words of the great Muni, the Lord himself kidnapped his wives from the protection of Arjun. Otherwise, they would have at once vanished from the scene as soon as they were touched by the rogues. Besides that, some of the gopis who prayed to become wives of Lord returned to their respective positions after their desire was fulfilled. After the departure of Lord, he wanted all his entourage back to the Godhead, and they were called back under different conditions only. Hare Krishna.
Moral story was seen here. Ashtavakra Muni. The fair denizens of heaven please Ashtavakra Muni by the service. So the Muni blessed these ladies, these denizens, to have Supreme Lord as their husband. Now it was curved in 8 joints. So these daughters of the demigods, they laughed. Then what happened? The Muni cursed them that they would be kidnapped by rogues even if they have Lord as their husband. So again, the girls satisfied the Muni. So then, even after getting kidnapped, they will regain the husband. So in order to, so all Kumar, first blessings, then curse, and again blessings. So in order to keep the words of the great Muni, the Lord himself kidnapped his wives, then vanished, and then kidnapped. Otherwise, they would have at once vanished from the scene as soon as they were touched by the rogues. So in this way, a story has been put. Okay, anyhow. So I am separated from my friend and I was defeated by number of infidel coward men. Infidel is actually a bad term name used. And those who are not following the Shastra, such type of people defeated me. Okay, so the story is put. Why he was defeated was again the blessings which has been given by Ashtavakra. And then he will be taken away by the robe. Yeah. You have some doubt, Narayana?
Yes, Mataji, I have observation, not a doubt. Is like all the Lord's Leelas through all the yugas. If you see the incarnations of the Lord in Satya Yuga, the stories are very linear. They are like, they don't have a lot of twists and turns. And as the Yuga progresses, the story becomes much more evolved with so many twists and turns. Is it the progression that we see? Because in Krishna Leela, there are so many, it's like organic chemistry. So there are so many exceptions, so many rules, so many rules being broken, being made.
See, it is as per the yuga. In that yuga, that faith is there, even if twists are there, they appreciate. Now, Kali Yuga, people don't have time for themselves. Where Krishna will twist and all. Why should he have? That is it's a very simple medicine given. Simple Leelas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has done simple Leela. If you see what is his Leela, dancing, eating, feasting, you can say. Dancing, feasting. Simple Leela for complicated people. The most complicated people are Kali Yuga people. They don't have time. So Krishna thought, why should I give some complicated Leelas? Already they don't have time. In other yugas, people are simple. They appreciate Krishna's complicated pastimes. Isn't it? Like you go to doctor, till he doesn't screw you, he doesn't put you in that some comes now, what is it? MRI and all those things, you'll not be satisfied. Not be satisfied. But if a simple doctor comes and just sees your nadi, you don't have faith. One doesn't have faith because he's a simple person. That is why, because he's a complicated person. They don't want simple medicines, but still, for the Kali Yuga, it is simple dose which has been told. So here, cursed and they would be kidnapped by rogues, even if they would get Krishna as their husband. But now, Lord only kidnapped. You see in this Leela, Lord only kidnapped his wives. Because the curse was that they will be kidnapped by the rogues, even if the Lord was the husband. But if you see here, Lord only kidnapped his wives. Otherwise, they would have at once vanished from the scene as soon as they were touched by the rogues. Lord did not allow the rogues to touch his wives. Though Ashtavakra told that they will be kidnapped by the rogues, that is what I was reading here 2 times. So they would regain their husband even after being touched by the rogues. But Lord did not allow his wives to be touched by rogues. So cowherd men and all accompanied the Lord, and the Lord only kidnapped. Okay? Stop here.
Mataji, Haribol Mataji, I have got a question. Does in Shloka 16, I see Arjuna is talking about the protection of the Lord. Now, that protection, does it depend on the degree of submission?
Lord is always protecting only. Lord protects everyone. Lord protects the demon also. Protection doesn't mean only you love a person. You thrash him also, there is also protection. You correct him, reclaim him. So Lord is always protecting. A devotee can understand the protection.
Right. Very true. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
जगन्नाथ कृपासिंधु पतितनं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः वैष्णव की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. Gautam, end the meeting, Gautam.